What's up, everybody? Happy belated New Year. I have a lesson for you today that is going to involve noise reduction. And noise reduction not from pedals or amps or anything like that. Noise reduction from your playing, from your hands, because your hands are going to be causing noise, especially you electric players. Every guitar player knows whenever you got hands on strings and they come off the strings, they're going to make some noise. Especially if you like to use a lot of gain, which I do, and I like to use a little bit of compression and some added sustain, which makes my strings all that more sensitive. So I have to be really mindful of extra noise. So we're going to take a look at some simple steps that you can take. They may seem like minute details, but they make all the difference in the world when it comes to playing a riff. If you can take a riff and clean it up and get rid of some extra noise, it sounds 100 times better. No matter how simple the riff may sound, by eliminating extra noise, you're really going to be highlighting the riff that you're playing, and every note's going to ring out nice and clear, and you don't get that muddy noise. So let's take a look at some of the most common ways to eliminate noise from some of the most common problems. Alright, usually the first time an electric guitar player comes across unwanted noise is when he or she is learning bending. And once you've figured out the mechanics of bending, and finally you can stretch a note, and you figure out how far you need to push the string, once you figure that out and you're able to get the notes right, you come across another problem, and that's coming off of the bend, because when you bend up you're touching these other strings, and then when you come off of them you're going to cause noise. So how do you get rid of that? Very simply, when you bend up and then you come down, I like to use this finger here to lay across the strings just to keep them quiet. Works very well. Another one would be moving around in octaves, or it doesn't have to be octaves, just any two-note chord. I know technically it's not a chord, but so what? Any two-note chord that you're playing, especially when you're skipping strings, but even if you're not, if you're playing two notes at a time, you want to be able to strum the chord without hearing all these extra notes. And how I like to do it is, let's say I'm doing just that, the octaves, where I'm playing a note on the 5th string and then playing a note on the 3rd string. So I'm skipping the 4th. What I like to do, first of all, I kind of lay these fingers down a little bit. I fret the notes and then just kind of pull my hand back, so these fingers will mute notes. But just to make sure, I take this middle finger and I lay it across all of the strings. So if you're not fretting a note, these strings are muted from this the second finger. And when you push down on these notes, when you actually fret these notes, these two strings here, they're pushed out from underneath the finger, so they're clear of any muting. So, and any kind of two-note chord combination on the guitar, even if you're just playing a note on the 5th and the 4th string, so you're not really skipping a string, you still want to mute. Like I said, even if you're not hitting the strings, if you're not strumming the whole, even if you're just hitting those two strings, you still want to mute, because like I said, you're causing vibrations on the guitar. That in turn is going to vibrate the strings, and then your pickups are most likely going to pick up those vibrations. So you still want to take that precaution and mute everything, except for of course the notes that you're playing. All right, and one more. When you're playing legato stuff, lots of hammer-ons and pull-offs, and you're not actually doing a lot of picking, anytime you're doing that, you're pulling off and you're going from string to string very quickly, that's going to cause a lot of noise. Now, you're always going to have noise come from that. It's almost impossible to keep it totally clean, but not really. You can take some steps to help out the noise reduction there. So let's say we're going across the strings and we're going down a scale. Once I've moved from the first string, well, first of all, I'm doing my usual muting with the edge of my palm right here, just across the strings there so that those don't ring out. If I don't, these strings are vibrating just a little bit, and of course you're going to hit some other strings. So I just keep this on there. And one thing I like to do is, as I'm moving across the strings, I'm still getting used to this one, but moving across the strings, I'm on the first string. Once I leave that and I go to the second string, I'm going to use a finger here just to lightly touch the first string, just to make sure that once I leave that string with my left hand, it doesn't make any noise. And just repeat that process as you go across. And again, that's going to be kind of tough too, because even if once you leave the string with this finger, that might cause some noise. So it's getting used to the combination of these two fingers, or these two hands. Both of them are being used in the muting process. Even in legato, as I move across the strings, for example, what I've done here is I have my first string is just laying across the strings ever so slightly, just to make sure that that first string is muted. Now, when you're going the other way, it's kind of tough to keep a finger up above, because again, you're just going to be causing a lot more noise. So I'm just using the palm of my hand here just to go across the strings. Just as I go up the strings, just bring that down a little bit. And as you move across, if you go down, or rather up and then down, it's just moving this hand in and out of the way, just to mute strings and then to unmute strings. So you can hear there's still a lot of noise in there, but that's a lot cleaner than if I didn't do any muting at all. Hear all that extra noise that happened after that. So this way you can keep all that noise down. Like I said, it's gonna be really difficult to eliminate all the noise, but you can eliminate enough to where it's going to be really, really noticeable. It's going to make everything much cleaner.